Thank you, everybody, for getting up early. We have a little small crowd here, so let's try and make this, interactive. You guys jump in anytime you have any questions, right? So I have a pretty seriously experienced panel here with me. The title, as Jenny said, is Charts and Education, but we want to delve really deeply into all of the different trends in the industry around retention and personalization and how we take advantage of all the visual tools out there to help traders. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask each of my panel to introduce themselves very briefly, and then we can dive in. So we have Eugene, Catherine, and Thomas. So Eugene, can I start with you?
Sure. Good morning. Thank you all for coming. I'm Eugene Sorensen. I'm the Vice President of Product Management at ChartIQ. I joined ChartIQ about 10 months ago. I started my career as an analyst and trader, and then moved over to the financial technology space with CQG, then to Cantor Fitzgerald, and to Bloomberg, where I was for the past dozen years before I joined ChartIQ, overseeing all the graphics development on the terminal as well as the Launchpad environment.
Catherine St. John, I work for Trading Central. Started up at a company called Recognia back in 2001. And actually, Eugene and I worked together on bringing Elliott Wave and chart patterns to Bloomberg charting many years ago. So that's kind of cool to be sitting with you here today. And so now I'm working with Trading Central as heading up our user experience department.
Okay, I'm Thomas Papapolizos. I'm the managing director of Alpha Quant. In Alpha Quant, we are a team of experts in artificial intelligence, machine learning, and computational finance with more than 20 years of trading experience. Our experience in the retail trading space comes from having developed a mobile trading application with more than 10,000 active traders as users. And this has given us very valuable insights on what traders want, or how do they behave, and what else we could do in order to attract more traders and to retain the existing ones. So we're looking forward, to examine these things. Thank you.
Thanks, Thomas. Okay, so what I thought we'd start off with is talking about client retention. So, this conference a couple of years ago was always about how do we acquire clients, and now everybody understands once you acquire the clients, it's really how to keep them, right? And so what we see across the board is more and more tools, very visual charts, all kinds of stuff coming out. And you as a trader, when you go to a broker, you're spoiled for choice. And, we're all about behavioral psychology at Chasing Returns, and too much choice is not a good thing. It doesn't help the traders, it doesn't help the brokers. So maybe I'll start with you, Catherine. How does somebody work through all of those great tools that are out there and figure out what you make available to your traders, and how do you choose?
Yeah, no, it's funny because we added a tool to the toolbox. So we added a tool called Technical Insight that's, basically chart pattern recognition and deployed to pretty much all the online brokerages in the stock space in North America, and now starting up in the FX space now that we've been acquired by Trading Central. So we added a tool to the toolbox, and we've seen our clients build up tool after tool and tab after tab and basically dump an array of insights to their clients. And now the way we work with clients today is looking at how do we help people get access to helpful information in the moments where they're already paying attention. And there's a real art to it, and there's a real algorithmic component to it, to looking at where people are paying attention today. People are looking at charts, people are looking at their social channels, they're looking at their accounts. And so we're kind of facing this paradigm shift from I'll add a tool to the toolbox and try to train everybody to come over and use this amazing new tool, to how do I just be helpful when you're looking at a chart? If there's something interesting, and then I'm going to show it to you. If it's not a good time to show it to you, it's going to be more, ambient and over there if you're a habitual user. And so that's a lot of the areas that we focus on with our clients today, and we see a big impact. I'm just two quick cases. We have a client that's an FX broker, and I was working with their team on their mobile app. And partially, I think their motivation was, how do I launch something in a cost-efficient way, so less development is a cost is easier, but that actually has an impact on trading levels, has an impact on engagement in the mobile app. And so, we went with more of a, call it scarcity or event-driven approach, where when we had something to say that was insightful, it would appear on the chart. And chart IQ, it would appear on the chart, and then when there wasn't something happening, then it wouldn't appear. And in that moment that it does appear, having that frictionless experience to go directly to an order, while keeping them in control to adjust and do things was, I think there was something like a 10 or 15% impact. On how they measured it.
And so that's really interesting, because we're all guilty of bringing more packages to the table, right? And our clients end up, they're competing against each other with the packages they have to offer. So Eugene, can you talk a little bit about, I suppose technology is catching up as well. So how do you look to not treat all of your offerings as separate options for your clients, but to somehow integrate them? Can you talk about some of the newer trends that you're seeing, particularly stateside, that you're looking to bring here?
So definitely, we're definitely in a world of digital transformation, right? We're in a world where the world I came from, of CQG and Bloomberg and Refinitiv, you needed to build a completely vertically integrated solution. Today, it's a world of best of breed, right? It's really around bringing together the best in analysis, using tools that are intelligent to help provide a progressive experience, and providing that user with using different companies, partnering together to build the best product that you possibly can, right? And I think that's how companies can differentiate themselves in their offerings, is by finding the right suite of partnerships and the right suite of products that come together and talk to each other, so that you can really provide that custom experience that you're looking to provide that differentiates you. Because I think what's really critical in today's age is to focus on your core competency, right? Identifying what you do well and do that, and then finding the other pieces. So we're very good at charting, right? So if you want to use our chart, as we do with Trading Central, we're very good at charting. They're very good at the analytics. So great. That's a perfect sort of partnership that you can blend together, right? And so we're working, and I think it's very important that the companies find these partnerships so that it's easy for our clients to put them together, right? If they have to do a lot of that work, then it's going to take that dev time, right? We want to make it really easy so that it's just flip a switch and these products work together.
Yeah, and I think the plug and play model, we can really see that in the industry now. Most people want new tech, but they don't have development resources to put it in. So I do see that very.
Listen, we're a software development shop too, and one of the things I love about getting out and working with our clients is I'm working with peers in product and software development with their backlogs, and so it really helps us have that focus on delivery. If you could have a great idea, and if you can't deliver it, then it's nothing, right?
Absolutely.
And so we look to how to facilitate things for our clients, and the technology changes. We started out wanting to be an API company. I didn't want to build user interfaces. I didn't want to build apps. Let the brokers do that. We just wanted to have laser sharp focus on pattern recognition, now expanding more into economic insights and news analytics. But to get clients, we had to do the vertical stack. Like you say, we had to deploy what's essentially almost like a chameleon solution, so we can launch and deliver the full user experience in a way that blends seamlessly with your apps. And that's still really common with our clients today. But now we're looking at things like, where's the consumer attention on the charts, in the account, in social media. And so now our clients are ready for the automation that the APIs and that new tech makes possible.
So let's take that a bit deeper then, because obviously there's so many different types of clients as well, of traders. And Thomas, you're looking at the whole AI machine learning piece, right? So we've got algo traders on one end who never want to make a decision. They just want to turn on their EA or whatever to discretionary on the other end. So, and then we've got from cryptos to FX, in terms of product suites. So can you kind of shed some light on what are the new trends happening in machine learning and AI?
Okay, starting with asset classes, we have a different situation in the United States than it is outside of the United States. In the United States, we have fewer than 180,000 FX traders, but we have some tens of millions of stocks and option traders. It's the opposite outside the United States, but for example, in markets like the Asian market or the European market, we can see a slow trend, but accelerating, where many users, many FX traders, go to other asset classes as well, like equities, like, of course, cryptos, which is such a big hype about cryptos. And, of course, they want new tools in order, to support them in their trading. As far as it regards the systematic versus discretionary trading styles, we could say that in our experience, the best style to adopt is, let's say, a good combination of systematic. Around 80% of the decisions made could be made by the systematic through an algo system, and you need also 20% of discretionary trading. And the other thing is that even for aficionados of systematic trading, of people, of traders that use 100% of systematic systems, they want to get involved in the trading decision, and this is something very crucial for brokers, because we have to give them tools in order to engage them more. And I would like also to add something in what Eugene said before about digital transformation. Even though in the space, in the brokerage space, we see that many brokers have a lot of technology inside them, very few of them have embraced what we call digital transformation, or in other words, very few of them have gone, to new methods and methodologies in order to build a digital customer journey around data and data analytics. Very few of them. So we believe the brokerage industry will change a lot in the next years, where everybody has to go through a digital transformation strategy, tactics, and implementation, where they have to give, first of all, better access to their customers, maybe more mobile channels, a better ability to put trades 24/7 through not only an MT4 or some other platform, or MT4, MT5, some other platform. The second is to engage them more with tools, but personalized tools based on personalization that comes from data and data analytics about each customer. So you're gonna give specific tools specific for each customer. And the third is to customize the overall trading experience based on these analytics. And the fourth is to build not just products, but platforms and collaboration tools, because trading, is also about winning, but it's also about socializing with other traders. So you need to build platforms in order to retain your customers or to acquire new ones. You don't want to have just products. You have to build platforms in order to give a 100%, a 360 trading experience to the trader.
Yeah. Eugene, do you want to jump in there?
Yeah, I do. I think that's I'm fully agree with you that it is about a platform, and it's about pulling those things together, and that comes back to my point about the core competency. And really pulling those pieces together. And I think also I want to hit on your mobile point, right? We are continuing to see increasing demand for mobile, and that is a challenge. How do you render this information in this small device? How do you provide that progressive learning experience, right? And that's where I think that tools such as, AI and machine learning can really help tailor that mobile experience. And I think it's really critical when we think about the UX, right? So one of the things we're doing is making sure that, you're looking at your chart, I can use all of that screen real estate. Everything has to be done directly from the face of the application. You can't have menus, you can't have dialog boxes, all of that. So thinking about that mobile experience, I think, is a really critical piece.
Reminds me of some work I did recently with E-Trade in the U.S., and there was a big debate in the community about this approach to, we've got new challenger firms coming in, building out the online brokerage experience from scratch on mobile, and they tend to favor something that's very simple. And what we're seeing, though, is those challenger firms, what happens, especially with the drop to zero commission that happened in the U.S. recently, is they'll eventually, after a year or two, migrate over to those companies that actually have more tools and information. Because as they mature, they want more. They're doing it for themselves because they want rich information. And that project with E-Trade was interesting because the question was, can we put rich information on mobile? Can we put all of this data that we've built out over the past couple of decades into a compact experience? And we took the challenge and were able to do it because just the layers and gestures are different.
Yeah.
And to provide that in a way that's not another tab, another app, another space, but more immersive.
So the whole idea of mobile first, which is in, across technology, I think is really, really relevant to our industry for that reason.
Yeah. Made possible by APIs and
exactly.
interoperability.
Yeah. And the other thing, just to kind of follow up on that, so we're kind of trying to personalize an experience for a trader, right? But that trader also wants to be part of a community, right? So on the one hand, we're trying to do something really personal, but on the other hand, that trader needs to feel part of a group, right? So you also have to find, and that's why platforms come in. You need to be able to share data related to how that trader's peers are doing. So an algo trader doesn't care how discretionary trader's doing, but somebody with the same trading style, with smart big data now, we can figure out what people like them are doing, and now they can feel part of a group. So I think the community and the personalization have to go together.
Actually, we could say something like that. The next year we'll see something like the Amazon-like. Where they gather data, they understand better their users, they have also communities, they have many applications and many web services that you connect to, so we're gonna see something that we could call it like Amazonization of the trading business. This is something we'll see. It happens not only trading, not only in shopping, but in every space where we can have many data and where we can build platforms. So we'll see an Amazonization of the whole brokerage industry. This is what we believe.
I think it's interesting you talk about knowing what your peers are doing. We see that in utilities, for example, too, where when people look at the behavior of their neighbors and how they're using energy, the companies have seen that it has an impact on their energy consumption practices. But we've been talking a lot about charting and where customer attention is, and that's out in social too. I mean, trading is, there's some, emotion involved, there's some ego involved. People enjoy trading and they want to talk about it, and we need to take advantage of it because this is a referral business. So we've got programs where we start to work with our clients on extracting research out into the social space, a lot of it enabled thanks to feeds and APIs and marketing automation tools. And by doing that, you're reaching out to people in an environment that already has their attention, and then it's a win because you're facilitating sharing and talking about it with their friends in a way that exposes your brand. And it's funny because I'll get out with clients and I'll see their marketing teams and they're doing this manually. And for me, with computer science background, you're going, let me help you. let me help you bring in the feeds and the services and the tools that can make this easier today.
Yeah. I think, one of the things we talk about community, I think it's a really important piece. And I think part of that then feeds back to the education piece, right? And it's the, providing a progressive model for that education, right? People need to be able to consume bits, right? And you need to be able to introduce what's next. They need to be able to find a little bit of information, go deeper, go deeper, go deeper as they're trying to learn about this topic. That's why the community piece is so important, because they're trying to understand this, right? And we talk about customer retention. We need to help educate all of our clients. It's all of our responsibility to help educate our clients and provide them with the right tools. Some of the things which Trading Central has done of popping up a little blurb and then being able to take that, go deeper and deeper into what the understanding of the business and the products they're looking at.
Yeah, and I think going back to your example about the neighbors, which is, trading is a journey, right? It's the probably hardest journey of any career that you can do. But we can't treat traders as, we need to know where they are on the journey. So, right at the beginning, they don't need to know what the neighbors are doing. They just need to learn some basics. But pretty soon, they do want to know what the neighbors are doing. And they want to go, if they're having a bad week, it's good to know that actually you're doing okay for where you are on the journey, right? And then you need to give them, the challenges to help them move to the next level, right? And so trading and gamification, which is, the science of turning life into something enjoyable, be it your Fitbit and counting steps or be it your trading journey. I think that's where we're going. And it's great to see companies open and working together because, as Eugene said, we all have our own specialties, but until you put them all together, you're not getting the best of everything. So that's really positive. Can I just open it up to questions? Because I think we're in the last 10 minutes. Has anybody any questions?
I think I'll jump on your gamification point and just say
Okay.
be careful with what you measure, as it is with running a business, also in your apps. It was really interesting to see one of the robo-advisors in Canada turned trading firms. And, they launched their business in what was a very long bull market. And, careful what you're showing to your clients because, people will log in each day and they would have this big, bright, beautiful green information about how awesome their portfolio was until there was a downturn. and then everybody would log in and see big red, and nobody wants to see this. One of the guys at our company used to take calls from clients at TD, and we would come up with things that expose our analytics in a way that says, this much of your portfolio is at risk, or this much is bullish, or whatever. And his point is, people don't want to know. People don't want you to tell them how terrible they are. They want some help. They want some help moving forward. And a big part of it for us has been acknowledging that we're not here to evangelize chart patterns or technical analysis or one thing. In fact, we've broadened our portfolio into areas of news analytics, looking at economic data and drawing insights from all sorts of things, because the truth is people have their own affinities and preferences, and we just want to be, event-driven, have this broad collection, and then throw at you what's interesting and useful in that moment. And so there's a lot of art behind
And then
that.
going back to choice, if they choose for it to not be interesting, they need to be able to turn it off. So they're in control. So they're able to personalize what is important to them.
Yeah, and a lot of that's done seamlessly and automatically. It used to be, as engineers, it was easier just to give more control and lay out all the data and give you all the tools. And the adoption of those configuration features is very low.
Yes.
And so rather, the design is in the algorithms behind that do these things automatically.
So in
Which
terms
is
of
probably
education,
a lot of the work that you do.
Yeah, I agree. Actually, people actually don't want to have too many choices. So you have to build some personalization engine, but it has to be seamless and transparent for the user. You don't have to to put him in a journey of having too many choices because he's gonna get lost. But at the same time, you have to engage him and to make him invest some time and effort, because that way he's engaged more in the whole journey. So you must find, the right point between automation, but involvement and engagement at the same moment.
yes, very good point.
It's a progressive path of, oh, you're interested in this, you may also be interested in this, opening up more doors as you go into the next room. What are the next doors to go through, right?
Yeah, very layered experience.
Yeah.
I see a lot of our clients working on personalization from the account holdings. I grew up in a very regulated environment, working with stockbrokers, highly regulated, and so we launched products in a way that was perhaps less signal focused and more focused on how do we present the facts and what's actually happening and what matches the textbooks. And so there was a lot of educational component and a lot of care into not kind of overstating and giving investors choice, being transparent, giving them additional levels of detail. But yeah, so what I find is now today we're matching that with what has the person been looking at lately? What have they been trading? And from our broad portfolio of things that have changed lately, either in the economy or in the charts or elsewhere in the news, then how do we attach to that and say, hey, you were looking at this, and here's something that's changed that might be helpful to you.
So in terms of, so you guys have a lot of experience from the US, right? So what would you say are some of the biggest differences? If we talk about, so US came from very low leverage environment, much more regulated, a lot of education. And this is kind of new over here in that, leverage has only been reduced in the last couple of years. There's a lot of stuff out there, education-wise, that's not as strong as it could be. There's no regulation around that. So do you see huge differences? And what are the best practices that we should be bringing over here?
So I think, education is something that is, you can't really regulate, right? It's each person comes to it from their own perspective, right? And it's really about finding what that user needs to learn. In traveling the world, I think the biggest difference, as Thomas was talking about, is the different types of asset classes that people focus on. But then understanding that different asset classes behave differently, right? That, you can't really trade that, equities have a natural upward bias. That is not the same case for commodities or currencies, right? You need to understand the fundamental differences in these asset classes, and that's probably where how you educate around that, that's a really interesting challenge.
Well, we've only got a couple of minutes left, so can I just, does anybody want to raise anything with any of the panel? We've either lost you all or are you all following along nicely? I will. Hang on one sec.
Thank you. A question about algo trading versus discretionary trading. So do you see going forward, will there be more algo trading, or people still want to have this control? Or if they will use algos, will they like to have, or at least have a feeling that they're in control of their trading? You know what I mean? Because currently what I see is a lot of people don't want to get in algo trading because they're afraid of not having that control of the algo. So I'm just curious how you think about how we can bridge that.
Yeah. So
Okay. Actually, people want to have some control. Even if they are 100% aficionados of automated trading, they always want to have some control, and they don't like black boxes. But again, it depends on the specific kind of trader, because you have too many traders and investors out there. Okay, so if you want, if you have an investor that wants to invest and have 5% to 10% every year, he can go to a robo-advisor and not do so much thing about trading or investing. But if you have intraday traders, everyday traders, traders that want to learn more, then you have to explain them algo models. They have to get involved in the whole process. You cannot give them just black boxes. And for example, in our trading application, we introduced a couple of months ago a feature called Pythia, where every trader can go and take some kind of an advice for some assets with probability, with a machine learning model, probabilities about something, but the trader puts some numbers in it. So this sort up
We're running out of time,
the traders'
Thomas.
engagement around 40%. So you want both, but you want the trader to have some kind of control.
just want to add quickly to that. Think about self-driving cars, right? Who here really wants to assign all of that responsibility over to the car? Right?
I do.
You know what? Like, there's room. The truth is,
Let's look at the statistics of what self-driving cars are doing. And that's the same thing that happens when you get into trading.
Crazy humans.
Oh, it's the self-driving cars are
We'll have another panel on that.
many years away. Right. People want some control, right?
Okay.
They want the assistance, they don't want it to take over.
I
Okay.
think there's room
So-
for all of it. I mean, look at the growth of passive investing. Expanding the market by offering simple packages, and this is all that, you know, this is also how you package and market things. So referring to things as algo trading is very different than referring to things as a robo portfolio or something like that to help people get involved easily without having to
good
spend a
point.
lot of
Yes.
attention.
Yeah.
But as with most things, there's room for all of it, as you can see even on this panel, right?
Okay. So can I just thank my panel very much, Thomas, Catherine, and Eugene. Thank you very much for your
you.
participation.
Thank you.